الحمد لله الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله وما توفيقي ولا اعتصامي إلا بالله عليه توكلت وعليه فليتوكل المؤمنون وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إقرارا بربوبيته وإرغاما لمن جحد به وكفر والصلاة والسلام على خير البشر النبي الأمي الذي دعانا إلى صفاء القلوب ونقاع الصدور وطهارة النفوس صلاة وسلاما دائمين متلازمين عليك سيدي يا رسول الله أما بعد فيا عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي الخاطئة بتقوى الله وطاعته إن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون يقول ربنا تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله يتقاكم صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله الهاشمي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. All praise and glory belongs to Allah. I ask Him to send His peace and His blessings upon His beloved prophets, His family members, His companions, and all of those followers of this light, all the followers of His teachings until the day of judgment. And I bear witness that there is no God except Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the messenger of God and His servant. The one who is guided on the straight path, no one can misguide that person. No one can send that person astray. And the one who is not guided on the straight path, on the path of Islam, no one can guide that person except God throughout His guidance and throughout His mercy. Brothers and sisters, during this Friday khutbah, I intend to tackle some of the issues that not only our communities living here in the United States face, but these are some other issues found throughout the rest of the world in the Muslim majority countries. At the bottom of many difficulties that we are going through, it comes down to self-interest and also the ego, personal ego. I repeat again. Once we analyze the issues that are going on around the Muslim world nowadays, you will come to know that the main problem of these issues, it comes down to self-interest and also ego, personal ego. So, today inshaAllah I'm going to mention some of these current issues that we need to address. We all need to be aware, and we all need to learn how to go over these obstacles, over these issues, how to treat them. It is like the sick person who comes to the doctor and he needs to be cured, but he cannot just be cured by saying that I'm sick. He needs to follow certain criteria. He needs to take some certain medications in order to become better. That's how the Ummah of Islam nowadays it is. Even though we are millions and millions around the world, scattered all over the world, however, we do face some challenges that we have to get over these challenges, inshaAllah, and make sure that we are able to practice the faith as we should, and also we represent Islam to the rest of the world as we should. Because as Muslims, we are not obligated only to live as Muslims, to live according to the constitution that is given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the Qur'an. But also we have another obligation, which is to deliver this to the other people, to the rest of the world. We are a mirror of Islam. We are a mirror of the Qur'an. As Sayyidatina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, when she was asked about the character of Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, she said, كَانَ خُلُقُهُ الْقُرْآنِ. His manners, if you want to talk about his manners, if you want to know about his ethics, and you want to talk about that, then take a look at the Qur'an. He was a Qur'an. وَالْعُلَمَاء يَقُولُونَ كَانَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ قُرْآنٌ يَمْشِي. He was a walking Qur'an. So whatever God revealed to him was applied through the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the best possible manner that a human can apply. So, as I said, this constitution that came down, it is not only for us to live by, but also to explain it and to deliver it to the rest of the world. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت الناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. You are the best of the nation that came out of this humankind. You are the best, the Muslims. Why? Because you are commanded to do good things. And you are prevented from the wrong things. So you are not dealing with your own faith only in the individualistic manner. Where you say, well, I just do the prayer, this is my business, this is what I'm all concerned, I don't care about the rest. No. A Muslim is not an individual person who is concerned only about his individuality. A Muslim is a positive person, not only for himself and his own family, but also in the society that he lives in. Including, he is a positive person, including for those who are even not Muslims. Even non-Muslims, they see khayr, they see benefit in the Muslim. This is who we are. We're not isolated people. So in order to get out there, in order to do our job, in order to live as a true Muslim, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet advised us, then we need to go over these obstacles that we are facing nowadays. And I will tackle the first issue. One of the major things that you see around the world, in the Muslim countries and non-Muslim countries, is the misquoting of our deen, misquoting the religion, and also taking out of the context the teachings of Islam. Taken out of context, for those who don't know what it means, is taking one part of the text and explaining that the way how you want it, without taking a look at what it is before that or looking at what's after that. You're just taking one thing and you're making your case according to those 2-3 sentences that you're taking out of the text. That's called taken out of context. And this is one of the major issues that is current in the world right now, nowadays. In the Muslim world and in the non-Muslim countries as well. In the non-Muslim countries, you see the case with those who are Islamophobics, those who are against Islamic teachings, those who are against the Muslims. They make their case based on their examples they give. They take out of, like I said, they take out of context verses from the Qur'an or the statements of our dear and beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they make their case. For example, they would say, وَقَاتِلُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ كَافَّةً. That's it. And kill the non-believers, or those idol worshippers, all of them. That's all what it interests them. It doesn't interest them anything else. They don't look at the reasons of the revelation like our scholars, the ulama of tafsir. They have to look in the reasons of revelation. Asbab al-nuzul, why this verse was revealed, to whom this verse was revealed. They do not look at the historical position or the historical revelation of this verse when this verse was revealed. What was going on at that time? At the time when this verse was revealed. So they do not take all of these other information, they just take it as it is there, they just quote it to the people, they say, hey, it exists in the Qur'an, you guys are in trouble, you are bad people. They're trying to portray Islam and Muslims in these societies that we live in the Western world as something that is bad, an illness for societies. By doing what? By taking out of the context. They're not interested to see the rest of the verse that says, كَمَا يُقَاتِلُونَكُمْ كَافَةً. You know, kill them as they are killing you in a group, like a whole. And it refers to the time when these non-Muslims, for example, these idol worshippers, they were fighting with whatever they could. In any possible way, they wanted to destroy Islam and to kill all of those living Muslims. That's why they even migrated from the city of Mecca, they went to Medina for this reason. Because they were threatened by death. They were threatened by poverty. They were threatened by exile. Therefore they had no other option except to fight those who were fighting them. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this verse. Don't let them kill you all. Don't let them destroy you. But stand up for what is right. Stand up for what you believe. Stand up, protecting yourselves and your families, and your communities and your Prophet. Therefore the Muslims, they stood up, and they fought against those who were fighting them. This is the right explanation of the verse of the Qur'an. But who goes out there and explains to these people these things? There are very few of them who would do this, but even when they get a chance, they do not get a public appearance. They do not get that chance to be publicly recognized. Who gets recognized? Those who take it out of the context. Why? Because they have the money, and that's the breaking news. That is the breaking news. So this is one of the issues that the Muslim world nowadays, brothers and sisters, is facing. Not only in the, like I said, even in the Muslim countries, there are tactics, and there's a lot of people are trying to implement these methods even there, especially in those countries where Islam is in danger. And we see, I am from Europe, I'm from Albania originally, and we see these problems that people trying to, the same problems that are here in the United States, people who take out of context things, they bring them over there to Europe. Why? Because, it's in Europe. It's not connected to many other Muslim countries. We are surrounded by non-Muslims. Albania and Kosovo, for example, would be the two countries in Europe where the majority of the population is a Muslim society, Muslim population. So they were trying to attack in any possible way they can. Therefore, they bring all of these out-of-context methods and trying to implement in those societies. So I'm saying it's not only here where the majority is a Christian majority country, but even in those Muslim countries. So we need to be aware of these tactics. That's number one. Number two, do you know that also we as Muslims, in certain parts of the world, in certain universities, we try to also take out of the context things in order to prove to our brother who is a Muslim that we are right without having a background of studies in Islam, without being a scholar, without reading much about Islam, just reading Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim and a couple books here and there, and thinking that we are ulama, we're scholars right away. We try to prove our point to our brothers that we are ready to fight with our brothers on the length of the pants and the length of the beard. And we completely forget about the priority in Islam, which is to be united. We forget about that. We forget about the importance of being united, and we start paying attention to these things that are not even considered to be fara'id, not even mandatory things in Islam. And we are ready to fight and jump at each other, simply because of these differences that we have, or the way how we understand one hadith or one verse. And we try to narrow Islamic teachings according to my explanation and according to the explanation of my alim. And that's it. That's all what I recognize. And for that, I'm ready to fight and go into war with my Muslim brother. What is this? This is taken out of context things too. Yes. If you have an opinion of major recognized scholars in the Muslim world, if you have ijma and qiyas, and you do not take a look at the ijma and qiyas, or the interpretation of many other Muslim scholars, who are worldly recognized scholars, they have an Islamic studies background, their whole life, they have donated their life for the sake of Allah and for the sake of ilm, and you just take it out of context only according to your way of understanding, then brother and sister, you are doing the same thing as that non-Muslim, as that Islamophobic is doing to us. So these people who are ready to fight with Muslims, they are doing the same exact things, taking out of context things, without looking at other aspects, without looking at the verses of the hadith from different prisms. So this is another major problem that we need to get over this. If there are major scholars like Imam Abu Hanif or Imam Shafi'i, this and that, who explain certain things in Islam that were not explained by the companions, who did their ijtihad in deen, they were not explained by the companions, you don't find those things in the hadith. Or that hadith, it might have two interpretations according to the linguistic points. It might be something that is related to the Arabic language itself. You cannot just rule it out and say this is the only way and that's it. If Abu Hanifa radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Imam Shafi'i and the others, they have given a different interpretation, then leave it right there. Because they're better than you and me, brothers and sisters. Recognize the difference. And after you recognize that there are different opinions, then after that, say that this is a rahmah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If God wanted to have everybody with one opinion, He would have done that if He wanted to. If He left room for the scholars to interpret certain hadiths or certain verses, if He has left that room, then leave it there. Allah has given that as a person for His own. And don't deny the opinion of the other scholar. Don't deny it. In the past century, we had so-called scholars who even went against these major scholars of schools of thought, like Imam Abu Hanifa. People say he didn't have a good memory. He didn't have a good memory. Imam Shafi'i, no good. And look at this. People going even against the statements of our beloved Prophet ﷺ. Why? Because he said that these are the golden ages. Imam Abu Hanifa was from the Tabi'een. Because he met the Sahabas. So sometimes people without knowledge, they start, they know something, they have read a couple books here and there, they claim to be scholars all of a sudden. And they start blaming, and talking bad and saying things that, again, out of context. Some scholars, they say, the person himself, who is an ignorant person, treats the enemy as his friend, can treat the enemy as his friend. And he can treat his friend as his enemy. So he's not able to recognize who's the friend and who's the enemy. And they also say, the scholars say, that the person who is jahil, who is an ignorant, is the worst enemy to himself. He is the worst enemy to himself. Because he can destroy himself more than the others they can do to him. He can be more destructive to himself than the outer enemy. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be preserved, inshaAllah, from these issues and these problems that do exist. Another thing that I need to mention is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls us ummatan wasata. You are a balanced nation. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. Therefore, Allah says, we have made you as a nation that is balanced. You're not an extreme in either side. You are a balanced nation. Balance means that you find that middle way, that you are very good with people, that you practice your own faith, that people, they learn from you, they like you, you are a great example. You represent Islam anywhere you go. At the place of work, you represent Islam in the best possible way. With your family, your wife, your kids, they say about you, you know, this is the best husband. He is a true Muslim husband. Or your husband will say about you, if you are the wife, she is the best wife. She is so good wife. She is a good mother for my children. This is how you practice Islam. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet recommends us. This is the core of Islam. This is the essence of Islam. People you work with, the friends that are around you, they're going to say, you know what? This person stands for what is right. This person is the best representative. We like this person. We like the example of this person. We want to follow this person. How do you think Islam came in China? How do you think Islam came in Malaysia, in Indonesia? How do you think Islam came in Europe and in many other places? It came through these beautiful examples. Aisha says about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, كان خلق القرآن. إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. I was sent to perfect the morals. وفي رواية لأتمم صالح الأخلاق. To perfect these good morals, I was sent. Look, he's saying the reason why I was sent, the essence, the reason why I was sent to the humanity, to perfect these morals. So are we the best representatives out there of the morals of Islam? Do we cheat to the people? Do we lie at people? How do we present ourselves? This is very important. This is what Islam calls us for. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. In the Qur'an, when Allah directs the words to the Prophet ﷺ, He says, and you stand in a high position of manners and morals, of ethics. So it is stressed out so much. And brothers and sisters, nowadays we have this problem. Because we have started losing the ethics, the Islamic ethics. You have so many Muslims out there who are They play different roles, but not the role of being a middle and balanced Muslim. They're either isolated from the society. They're isolated from the society. They're the one, brother, this is my group, that's it, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. I do the prayer, I'm just isolated. They have no contact with our world, nothing, even with Muslims. Or you have people who are assimilated, they're Muslims, who live in the Western world, including the state and the country we live in, who are completely assimilated. They have lost their faith. His name is Muhammad, his name is Hussein, his name is Mahmoud. He has lost his faith, he's an Americanized completely. By losing the faith, by losing the identity, by losing the language, his children are growing up, they don't even speak Arabic, they don't speak other languages, you know. And this is not who we are. We're losing our identity. We have identity crisis nowadays. In the Western world, we do have identity crisis. With the youth, they're growing up, nobody's teaching them what, you know, nobody is bringing the Islamic law and the Islamic character of the Muslim, merging it with the place where we live, with the American culture. And this merging needs to happen without losing our identity as a Muslim, but also recognizing what is preferable, what is prohibited from this culture, what we need to take and what we need to leave. You know, you've got people who completely refuse this. American life and American ethics and all that, throw it all in garbage. It doesn't work. You cannot make a youth that lives here, that was born here, make him 100% Palestinian, like he would be living in Gaza, or make him a Jordanian or like a Kuwait. No, you can't, because they were born here. You need to take Islam and merge it with this culture here, and whatever does not contradict the Islamic teachings from this culture, you take that. And that's how we can grow these youth. This is how we can raise up new generations in this place where we live. Otherwise, we have seen the previous generations living here. From the Virgin Islands, I've seen a documentary. There was a lady. She was, I think she was. This family came from Africa, originally from Africa, but she was probably the 4th generation or maybe the 5th generation. So Allah knows. You know, she was saying, I remember my mother, when we were children, I remember my grandmother saying, Ashhadu la 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 la, like that. And we used to make fun of her because she would be like almost like singing la 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 la. And she did not recognize the fact that until she grew up, that what her mother was uttering with her mouth was the kalimat shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Why she was not able to recognize? Because her own mother did not teach her these things. And she was a Christian. So, how many people out there, they lost this faith? Yeah. How many people, they lost it? And I have so many examples, especially from the Eastern world. Nowadays, books are coming up, the history books of Islam are coming up with all of these explanations. The last thing that I need to mention at the end of this khutbah is, brothers and sisters, the youth is the amana that we have in our hands. The youth. It is our amana, it is our trust. As your family, it is your trust. The man, the money you have in your hands is a trust. A masjid is a trust. A state, a country is a trust that is being given to the president, whoever leads that. It is a trust, amana on our shoulders. So the youth too, it is our responsibility. What does that mean? That means that we need to understand them, and we also need to help them. Because one day we're going to go. What are we leaving behind? Prophet was so concerned about things that the person who passed away leaves behind. He says everything goes away except what remains. The deeds, the righteous deeds. Leaving a sound, healthy youth in the future who goes with the constitution of Islam, with the book of God, and understands the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it is the best investment that we can have for the future. Otherwise, we will be doomed. Otherwise, we will have responsibility on that day. Allah is going to ask, what did you leave behind? What did you leave behind? Oh God, I left my house, I built a castle there. God, I left a business. I built 3 pizzerias there. I'm not asking you for these things. I'm asking you, what did you leave behind from a'mal al-salihat? Al-malu wal-banun زينة الحياة الدنيا والباقيات الصالحات خير عند ربك ثوابا وخير أملا. We're not talking about the mal and the children and the wealth. Forget about that. These are beautiful things in this world. These are things that you can pass by in this world. وَالْبَاقِيَاتُ الصَّالِحَاتِ, and the righteous deeds, the remaining good deeds, are those things that you're going to need in the hereafter. Therefore, this is one of the major things that we need to focus on. The problem is this: our youth nowadays is so much focused into materialism. Because us, we are focused in materialism too much too. We have forgotten about, we think as humans that in order to exist, in order to progress, we need to progress through our rationality by being very knowledgeable, and also we think that by having a lot of money, by having a lot of, materialism. Money is the power is the money, right? You have all of this, then you can be so powerful in this world. So we rely on our intellect, on our rationality, and on our position. And this is what we're doing, even us as Muslims, we're doing the same thing too. Because we're learning in these last 2 centuries, we're learning this so good. And we have forgotten about our spirituality. As we feed our body with food, we need to feed our soul as well. We have a ruh. We have a ruh, every single one of us. And we need to feed that too. And our youth, brothers and sisters, are so much into the materialism. They're all about, computers, beautiful cars, this and that, showing off. I have this, I possess this. They forget about their spiritual world. They need to enhance their spiritual world. It's not only, prayer is one of the main things that they need to do. Dhikrullah, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their heart all the time. We don't have youth doing this, very few of them. If they're not connected with dhikrullah, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, getting busy with the life of the mosque, if the mosque needs to distribute some literature to non-Muslim places, they should be the first ones to jump right there and to say, here we are, what do you need help with? How can we help? They understand the culture here. They speak the language better than many previous generations. So they're not able to relate with the society they live in. Therefore, they need to stand up. And I'll give them one example from the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet ﷺ, he approached his cousin Ali, karramallahu wajhahu, and he said, ask your parents, tell your parents, if it is okay for you to accept Islam. Because Imam Ali expressed his wish, his will to accept Islam. And the Prophet said, wait, he was 10 years old. He said, go to your father, to your mother, and ask them, tell them, if it is okay for me to accept Islam. He went, the night passed by, he came next day to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet said, yes, what happened? What did you do? Did you tell them? What did they tell you? Imam Ali karramallahu wajhahu, he said, Ya Rasulullah, he said, when God created me, He did not need to ask my mother and my father, he said. When the ruh was inserted in my body, He did not need to ask my father and my mother. I'm the creature of God. Therefore, he said, why should I ask them to accept my own Creator who created me? 10 years old. These are products, this generation, these people are products of the right comprehension. They're not busy with the worldly things. They're not lost into the materialism, into the girls, into the computers, into the cars and all of that, whatever it's famous for, you know, for these days. No. They are concentrated into what is right and what is truth and what they need to take responsibility for their shoulders. They're concentrated on these things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those who live good examples in the future. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove these obstacles that we have in front of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala join our hearts as Muslims, as one ummah, as a balanced ummah. May Allah will help our brothers and sisters in Syria, in Sudan, in Egypt, in many other places around the Muslim world to ease the hard situation. May Allah, Allahumma arham موتانا وموتى المؤمنين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المؤمنين يا ارحم الراحمين. واخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. استغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه انه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله حمد الكاملين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. تعظيما لنبيه وتكريما لفخامة شأن شرف صفيه، فقال عز وجل من قائل مؤمنا وآمرا إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وارض اللهم عن ساداتنا أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعن أهل بيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعن أصحابه الكرام والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم اغفر المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. اللهم لا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا وارزقنا خيرا وأنت خير الرازقين. والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. عباد الله، يقول تعالى إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم واستغفروه يغفر لكم واقيموا الصلاة.